Going to do a different topic today. We're going to discuss the afterlife, and that will entail spirituality. And I think that's going to be a good starting block, really, to ascertain certain parts of really what we can expect on the other side, where our soul goes, our transformation, and what perhaps happens next. Now, look, there's some people who act like they know everything. I am always a student of life. So I'm learning continuously. I don't have all the answers to everything, and I don't mind not knowing all the answers to everything because it's always nice to be curious. It's always nice to discover something new. So, our opinions can shift and change and alter over time. And that's the beauty of life. Because, if we're supposed to know everything at a given moment, we would never have had our minds sort of reset as we come here. We have to sort of navigate our way through life and feel ourselves and then tune in back to source. And then we rediscover who we are at our core. One thing I would say fundamentally is if anyone finds themselves in competition, in jealousy of other people's lives, that suggests that they're so removed from their purpose and who they are that they're never going to find themselves. So I think on a very fundamental basis, it's not about looking over here, looking over there. I wonder what someone else is doing and wishing he was doing that and wishing they didn't have this. That's lost. I'm going to say that at the most part, that's lost. When you see, like when people see me talking, you see my content, you see what I can accomplish, that's because I'm focused on my journey. I want to help people elevate. I want to give people the tools to improve their lives, but it's never at the expense of my own growth and my own development. So, for instance, I'll do this video and I'll continue pushing forward on my path. Think of it like someone that's nomadic. I'm just continuing on my journey. What people think and feel about what I say and what I do, it's irrelevant to me to a certain extent. And I think other people need to be that headstrong too. So some people will have a curiosity of why we're here, what's our purpose, and literally what happens next. Some people won't care less, and it's just to each their own. It's often said, "What do you think the meaning of life is?" And I've put a reply in my book. For me personally, I think it's about helping humanity heal, but it's also evolution. So the way I see it is from birth conception, we will be at a certain level. Think about it like frequency. So we come here to evolve. So if you was at a certain frequency on the other side, you decide to have this life experience. You either come here to help humanity, so you're helping improve the world, or you've come here for lessons. So you want to continuously increase your frequency. So if you had a past life, you had maybe issues, you didn't pass the tests, you didn't evolve, you didn't advance. Some people even regress. So you start life, you go backwards. Maybe you go into crime, you go into certain low states. It actually caused you more trouble coming here than it was to just stay back in source, in spirit. So your frequency reduces, and you need to get that frequency back up. So you have to come back and do it again, hopefully learn the lessons. So the reality is, the sooner people are tuned to that, the sooner they're going to obviously elevate. And it makes sense, doesn't it? If you think about it, your life should improve because you're doing things to better your circumstance. And not in a nefarious way. Don't do things underhanded because that just bite you in the arse anyway. So, yeah, I see it all about evolution. So I expect, for instance, from the moment I was born and the things maybe whatever's happened in childhood through teenage years, you expect by the time you leave this world, whatever age it is, that you would have advanced. You hadn't regressed. You hadn't stagnated. You did something positive with your life and your frequency rised. So you learned some lessons, you passed some tests. The way we know we pass tests is we go on to different chapters of our life. Let's say we surround ourselves in toxic circumstances and we're stuck there for like 20 years and you just think this is just a cesspool of crap. Like, I don't want to get out of it. But you still find yourself gravitating towards the same habits and the same people. You haven't learned the lesson to outgrow the circumstance. Value yourself better. Don't let people take you for granted and don't abuse your body. That's a good start, isn't it? You start doing that, you start aligning with a better timeline. All of a sudden, you outgrow those people and you go on to do better things. So the new chapter begins. Soul contract ticked off. You're evolving. So if your life isn't evolving, isn't changing, so you're not developing anything, then I'd argue you're stagnating, and perhaps you may even be regressing. That's not going to do your soul any good. That's not doing any good on the other side. So people get lost in this world. They get caught up in the materialism. They get caught up in comparing and competing with each other. I think social media has its positives, but I think there's far too many downsides to it. There's a constant comparison. And like I said, there's a competitive edge. And it goes even beyond that. I find people copy each other. And that really drives me crazy. Someone sees something, they want to mirror it. Before you know it, they're going completely off their path. That wasn't even what they were supposed to be here to do. They had things to achieve and accomplish and certain milestones to tick off. And they're not even doing it because they got caught up in the rat race that everyone else has found themselves in. So how's that helpful? So it's helpful. So social media can be helpful from entertainment perspective. It's a little bit of a distraction. It can be for community. You can gravitate people together, and we can also learn from it. But there's also, like I said, the other tendencies are it derails you completely from your life purpose, and you just lose yourself entirely to it. Now, how much of that people want to take on board is entirely up to them. But even if you're not spiritual, I think it kind of makes sense to continue to elevate your life on a regular basis, improve. Anyway, so I'm going to share parts of what I know, what I already know, and what I feel. But like I said, I'm always learning myself, and I'm not going to be able to remember everything. I have too much happening in my life. I've experienced far too much, and it's not always going to be. It jogs into memory right now. So, Losing Your Mind to Find Your Soul, the one on the bottom left there is my third book, but it's actually my spiritual book. It's the only spiritual book I have in the collection. The next spiritual book, so it's going to be an evolution of that. That was 2021, so we're going to go 5 years forward. That's going to be the next one. The next one is going to be the follow-up to that. That'll come out by the end of the year. And it's already progressed. There'll be new things I add because I'm continually having experiences which I like to share, and I think it will help people. So like I say, there might be things I forget, but hopefully it'll be remembered for the book. And there's going to be certain things there because I take a lot of screenshots of things I get, especially from my tarot cards. And I'm going to share the tarot in a moment, because what's important with that is you might recognize, you should through a lot of my content. And when I started out on my journey, I had a spiritual awakening, so I had a bit of a breakthrough. And I started to realize life is completely different to what we perceive it to be. Like I said, most people get caught up in this world. They just think everything around them is all there is, and that's why they just start getting a bit greedy, or they just get lost to everything. Like I said, there's a bigger reason to things. Once you start opening your eyes and you start tuning to spirit source, it just changes your life completely. All of a sudden, you find yourself in alignment, and it's up. Some people do take steps back. They feel uncomfortable. They don't want to lose what they already have. So whether it's friendships, relationships, even just the things you just think you enjoy, but it's a distraction. You can stay there, but you'll never grow. Or you can outgrow the circumstance, lean into your purpose, and all of a sudden things are elevating. Elevation doesn't mean it's getting easy. My life's been hard the whole way through. I've had financial trouble for a long time. But what I would say, anyone watching or monitoring my journey, think about how I've come. Like, if anyone's seen me at the beginning, I think you'd see a lot of growth, development. So it wasn't for nothing. From a soul level, I've advanced. And in this experience, I'm advancing. Okay, my finances haven't reflected that, but it's only a matter of time. And I'm not doing it for the finances. Of course, I want that to improve, but it's bigger than that. Like I said, I want to evolve and improve from the moment of conception to the time I leave this earth. I've done things that I consider just now, like if we talk frankly, I think it's remarkable. Back in 2019, I released my first book. So before I released my first book, I hadn't done any of that. So none of that existed. I was stagnating. I was frustrated. But since then, I've had direction. I've had things I've accomplished. I've improved. And now I've created what I would consider a legacy. So only through my breakthrough did I have that legacy. Now, my spiritual awakening happened in 2020. That's when I had my huge epiphany. Everything just improved rapidly. All of a sudden, I'm getting number synchronicities. I've got people coming to me out of nowhere, and they're giving me little bits of information, and we're having experiences, and then another one. And it's a constant upgrade of the quality of, I wouldn't say the quality of people, but maybe the experience of people, how developed they are and how skills and attuned they are as well. So the conversations and the experiences just become a bit more powerful, potent. But so my first book came out 2019, and then my breakthrough was 2020. But actually in 2017 is when I truly started to realize something could be different to what we expect. I had a tarot reading that I wasn't spiritual back then. I was skeptical, should we say. I wanted to cancel it. My mum booked it. I've already discussed this so many times. It wasn't a friend. It's not something she spoke about. I asked her. We don't lie to each other. She didn't fill her in with anything. She just booked it for me because she thought it might help because I was going through a huge personal issue. And I was going to cancel it, but too late. And they arrived and sat across from each other. And I was like, well, we'll see how this goes. And it wasn't quick before I was nearly in tears. They touched a nerve, and it was something that, there was information you just wouldn't have known and things. It was just too accurate and, too on point to just dismiss it. And it was the consistency of it. It's not like, oh, you just got this right, you got that right, that right, that right. And it was a bit surreal, to be totally honest. And that was really where I'm thinking, wait a minute, there's more to life than maybe be perceived, because how the hell could that happen? If everything is just like a square, how the hell does that happen? Because that's completely out of the box. And that's really when I had this curiosity. I wasn't really investing in it. It was just a curiosity. And it was a few years later is when I really jumped in. And of course, haven't looked back since. And what I would say is I've been elevating in my personal growth and development ever since. So you could argue, what has this got to do with the afterlife? But I think understanding life is a good start before we can actually try to even comprehend what could possibly be on the other side. So if I can, I can do tarot now, and I had very gifted people back in 2020 say, as I was developing my spirituality, leaning into it, I started getting synchronicities everywhere. And it occurred to me as I was growing and developing that, wait a minute, if I'm receiving signs, surely I can ask questions. And if I can ask questions, maybe tarot cards would actually work for me, because if my guides are there, they're pointing me in this direction, they're pointing me in that direction, maybe I can have a better communication process with them. So all of a sudden, there's so many tarot readers on TikTok specifically who I thought they were really good. I was following some of them, and they would, out of nowhere, they charge money for readings. Some of them did me readings for free, and I didn't even ask, which was unheard of. Some would just DM me and say certain things, and it was really beautiful. And then when I asked, I did a post, just said I'm thinking of doing tarot reading, and they said, yeah, I'm hearing for you. Yeah, definitely. So it's getting so much encouragement for it. And then, of course, like anything, you start and you're a novice. You're an absolute novice. It's really hard. Like, for instance, my daughter's developing it at the moment. She gets the consistency, but she's struggling to read and understand what the reading says. So I'm constantly having to decipher for her. But I'm trying to teach her to lean on intuition more and figure it out. And it's something that should develop over time, because it's intimidating. You don't want to obviously misinterpret a reading. You don't want to get it wrong. But you're gonna make some mistakes at the early stages. So it's not about being. I think the idea you should be perfect immediately is ridiculous. We're growing, we're learning, we're always students of life. So that's how I see it. We're a student of life, and I'm constantly evolving. Even I have trouble with some of the cards, and maybe I do misinterpret the odd thing, and it's okay. But some things are just blatantly obvious, and it's the consistency, like I say. But that was for me, having that understanding that tarot is one way to connect us to source. And again, I think it's the early stages of. Now, for a lot of the time, I already have. What it's done is helped me believe in my intuition more than I ever did. I've always had this gut instinct, but now if I have a fault, because the tarot cards have also confirmed this time and time again, I'm realizing that the fault is what I need to follow. So a lot of the time, I already know the answer before I ask the question. I already know the answer. So then I pull the cards, and it's the same thing as what I was thinking. Sometimes maybe I'm a little bit off, so it's interesting. But I think what it's showing is that maybe I won't always need the cards. And I've had very gifted people say that I have things I haven't unlocked, and we have to, again, this is all about the chapters. I said we go through certain level ups, and your level up, it gets so profound that there's no going back, and it gets frustrating living this traditional life when you just want to elevate and just focus all your time and energy on your growth. But unfortunately, we still have to balance the 3D world with the higher self. And that's a really hard balance to find. But you have to, for me, I can't say how other people should live. For me, I take the risks. I'll take the hits, I'll take the setbacks on the 3D side. It's horrible, when you're struggling for things, maybe you're struggling for food sometimes, and you're struggling to have luxuries, and you're struggling to have a consistently balanced life. It's not easy, but for me, I can't imagine it any other way. It doesn't make sense. Why would I give up all of my potential just to have a bit of comfort now? No, that's just holding I can't hold myself, I can't hold my potential back. I refuse. So I'd rather be unstable in the 3D and let people judge me while I continue to always develop myself. And I hope I've made this. I hope it's been clear there. I don't really, I understand it's such a complicated topic and it's hard to stay on point and keep it structured. I'm just trying to try the perspective really of how sort of I navigate this world and what I do in my own personal time. So like I said, I've had mentors along the way, not many, a couple of truly gifted people. And again, it's been an evolution of them. So advanced beings. Now, look, I'm going to say something that's going to trigger people because, again, a lot of people are in competition with people and they don't like to feel inferior. And again, for me, it's not, life isn't a competition, and having a superiority complex isn't in my forte. I don't care about status and things. So I think the reality is people get triggered by things, and I'm not someone that gets triggered by things like that. It's trivial. It's so trivial. It's just silly. If anything, we should be trying to learn from one another. And I think if someone has a specific talent, gift, or higher calling, that's something else to learn from, isn't it? You don't have to mirror that. You get, like, for instance, I'm going to say something now, and it's going to might wind some people up, which is, I think, stupid. But so I found out that I'm an earth angel. And it's a weird thing to say, but I've got used to it. So for someone else maybe hearing that, they're going to think, whoa, I don't know. I just, I know what I am. And it's just whatever form that is, it's just irrelevant, isn't it? So back in 2020, when I was developing my spirituality, like I said, I was on TikTok and someone in the comment section, someone had created content. I just commented on something and they said, I'm hearing the word divine with you. And I was like, what does that mean? Because, I was in my infancy. We're learning things. And they said, I don't know. And they were doing tarot cards. They were doing readings. They didn't even know what divine meant at the time. So I'm trying to uncover it and figure it out. Like, what level does that mean? What does that mean on the other side? And divine is angelic, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're sort of an angel. It could be at any level up on the in the spiritual plane. So you're just a divine beings, which means you have a deep connection to source and you'll have some level of ranking, I guess. But, to put it into the best possible way of saying it, like I said, some people are here for growth. Like their job is to evolve, to elevate their frequency. Some people are here to help heal humanity. So although I'm growing and I'm going personal growth, it's really just to align me back to my true self, back to my higher calling. So for me, all the things I've been through it was to tell the story to help other people heal, but it's also to get me back as fast as possible to my higher self. So I've had many lifetimes in one single life, and people won't realize that when they look at me. I've been so much trauma, so much complications, and everybody's been through their own things. But it is all to set me on this path to do what I'm here to do. So, I just ride the waves. It's not fun. It hasn't been enjoyable, but it is what it is, and so not only have I received confirmation through my cards, I've had a very gifted mentor. In fact, there's another person as well who's ridiculously gifted. I don't really want to start name calling, dropping people, to be honest. So, people can either take my word for it or not. I'm saying not drop their names. It's in my book. I'm not going to, I bought the book here just to show it, but I'm not doing plugs and shit. It's just in this. So Zach is in this book. David Wolfer is in this book. And I think I mentioned Kristen. I can touch on them briefly. I'm not going to go too deep into it. It's in the book. And yeah, I haven't had anyone since. I'm trying to think where we're up to here. So we did the being called divine. I had people, and again, this is all like a sequence of events to understand this. This is how I'm just going to show the sequence of events as best I can as to how I come across information and how I learned and grew. And I think hopefully that helps people. Again, I know we haven't touched quite on the afterlife yet, but again, this sets us up to understand that side, I think, a lot better. So the fact that I had someone randomly say you're divine, the content creator of whatever they were doing, and they were doing spiritual work, and they didn't know what that meant. And then I get tarot readers, gifted psychics and mediums, reaching out to me or just giving me a free reading and things like this for no reason at all. Like it would seem no reason to me. That was surreal. Like, why would you pick me out of everyone when I haven't even asked for anything? Because I don't ask people for things, And yet, it was around that period, I had readings coming up on TikTok. And it was just like, again, it's that continuity, you're not asking for it, you're not seeking it, and you kept seeing it. And it said you're going to have a career in either something about it's like religion or something like that, and it didn't explain exactly what it was. It said you'll feel like a novice. This was back in 2020, like about November, October, November, or September. So around that, between September and November. I don't think it's November actually. I think it's September, October. It said you'll feel like a novice, but the angels will help you. And I thought, what the hell are we talking about? By that point, I've seen angel numbers everywhere. I've seen white feathers when I went places. Not everywhere. It was just certain places. I've never seen white feathers there, and it was everywhere. Like everywhere I went, there was a white feather there, white feather there. So this is surreal. Yeah, I'm just sharing what I'd experienced. People can. I'm not saying this is this, and that. I know what I feel, but it's like, I'm just giving the information. I'm not going to go, oh, this was definitely that. Let's leave it open. We're all students. We're all learning. I'm just sharing what I've been through. So I had that. You're going to be a spiritual teacher or something. So I thought, I'm going to be a priest. I'm not even religious. I don't believe in religions, but I am, now I'm open to this spirituality, but I've never been religious. I don't believe in following a book in that sense, so regimented and rigid, and who knows how corrupted it's been. That's another thing, but that's why I'm not religious. And it also said you're going to be you're going to meet someone, you're going to be a powerhouse together. I thought, okay, I don't know what that means. So anyway, that's what I'm sort of in the back of my mind. I'm looking for this. Like I'm thinking, when is this opportunity coming in, and when am I supposed to meet this supposed person? And then a few months later, about 2 or 3 months later, so it was mid-December, I happened across. Well, no, actually, before that, I think November, I was like, I come across Kristen's content online, and I was looking at it, I was watching it, and I thought she's impressive. She knows what she's talking about. You're learning from them. It was great. So that's the thing. We're never too advanced. You can't learn off someone else. So, but again, I was at the beginning stages. So I'm learning off other people, especially. But it's really with an open mind. And randomly, about a month later, I think, or a few weeks later, I can't remember exactly how the time frame goes, but it was about mid-December-ish. She reached out to me, and we just hit it off. Like, we was talking, and it was the same wavelength. I can't remember how it started, to be honest. I've documented it somewhere. And then we just decided to start work, because I'd already done my books. And I said, I'm thinking about writing a book on this because I need to document it somehow. And then she said, oh, yeah, that'd be fun. So we was like, yeah, we could do that. So we started collaborating on it and did the book in about 3 months or so. Because I'm quite fast. They kept turning off, getting, because they're a bit ditzy. They're a bit like their heads all over the place because they get so caught up in the spiritual side. Whereas I'm very grounded and based in reality. Don't want to say reality, but do you understand like the differences here? You can have your head in the clouds and worry about all that, go too deep with it, and you lose sense of really what you need to be getting done with your day to day as well. So I think personally, it's about balancing it 50-50 sort of thing. And that's what I am. So again, some of the other mentors I've had, they're very spiritual. And I think personally, they lose themselves to it a bit where it encompasses them. And for me, I get it. I'm everywhere. So anyway, we finished the book and we part ways. Like they just go AWOL. I think because it was an accomplishment they hadn't experienced before, and it got to their head. All of a sudden, they thought they were better than me for some weird reason. And I don't compete with anyone, but it was the lack of communication that was driving me crazy because I can't have my name. We can't have a co-authored book when we're not even able to communicate and things. This is just ridiculous. And I don't want to go too deep with it, but I did all the writing. I did all the editing, the formatting. I did the publishing of it. It was my baby. It was my work. They contributed their work, so it's not like they didn't do anything. They'd send me sound clips, and I'd have to type it up. Sometimes they'd write something, but then I'd have to do the grammar. But ultimately, what I decided for both of our sakes is first of all, they didn't. There was some people scared to have their name out in the public, and that was something they were concerned with. I think. And I just thought, this is taking too. I can't be like this. I need to be free. I need to get this work out. And again, I think in hindsight, it should have just been a collaborator or something. It shouldn't have been co-author. So to make it easier, I've just removed all of their parts and made my own. I mean, that's a simplified version of it. I did a little tweaking of it to remove certain things to stop it from, to try to make it my own because it's just complicated. And then later on, I met Zach in 2023. October, November 2023. I think it was late October. And Zach is incredibly gifted. He was mad good. You know, I'm learning things from Kristen before. 2 years later, I'm learning so much from Zach that was just levels above. And that's saying something because Kristen was like really enlightening to me at a period when I'm just growing and I'm a student of it. But Zach was masterful. He can do, and he can channel the angelic realm. He can have conversations. He can do energy cleansing, so he can check me for anything. And he had to take some. I had some things around me. I had an entity shadowing me as well. This is deep stuff now. Like, this is where we're going level up. We're jumping from novice to now we're intermediate stuff. Like, we're getting, and he's experiencing even higher than that. But let's say now we're at an intermediate. Now we're like getting there. We're learning different things now. That is actually entities, that negative entities, which means there's obviously positive entities. So now we're understanding it's not just about this life. So when you see chaoses in the world, sometimes it can be malevolent forces influencing people. And I think that's probably something that's going to be hard for many people to comprehend. So they either forget it or ignore it. But I'm acutely aware. So, you know, again, now we have forces at work because I had an attack. Yeah, I don't know how much to say because I'm trying to get back to the afterlife, but I wasn't. Kristen had said to me, we don't need to do, if our frequency is high enough, we don't have to protect ourselves because we're too high that nothing can bother us. That was naive. By being high frequency, we shine brighter on, I call it the unseen realm. You can call it, what's the thing they say? Anyway, you know the other side. I've got the name's just eluding me now. I just say the unseen, but you could call it whatever you want to call it. It's annoying me now. We're gonna have to, because I don't want to sort of linger on it too long. So we're shining like a freaking lighthouse on the other side. And there was a situation where I went on holiday, and then I come back, and some things were going it was getting a bit crazy, like my life. Like, for instance, work was getting a bit more. It was getting a bit more toxic at work. Things were going wrong. I was having like issues with my back and all sorts. And then I meet Zach after I left the job. I left the job, and I meet Zach, and then it was like through that, he did a cleansing on me about a month after we met. And he was at the end of the cleansing because he noticed certain things with me, like ailments. He's like, there's an issue with your knee, your feet are cold. So I've got a blood circulation thing, and it's like the feet are cold. That makes sense. My knee was playing up then. I had to have something done on my teeth, and he mentioned that. He said, they're saying, get that done, get that sorted. There was things like this. There was a couple of other things. And then he recognized, wait a minute, there's something behind you. And it was a bit like, what? And it was said to me that you need to start doing your protections and things, you know. And he's hearing, and he could hear this thing, communicating thing. He said, I'm hearing it laugh at you. Like, he thinks he's so smart. I'm getting goosebumps now, but that's what he was saying. He thinks he's so smart. We'll show him. So they're intent on causing me trouble. This malevolent entity. It wasn't like incredibly low ranking. It was quite powerful. So you get different, again, I'm going to touch on it again when we touch the David Wolfer, but there's different levels of entities. You can get one that are just mischievous. They just cause a little bit of trouble around the home, maybe mess with your finances and all sorts. I know that's far-fetched to some people. I've heard too much for it to be discounted. And so anyway, he had this malevolent entity and it was just shadowing me. So they can take different forms. So Zach, being as gifted as he is, he asked, because he deals with Archangel Michael a lot and his guides and all sorts, and even other angels, like other archangels. He's told me experiences, but he said not to share certain things with people. So I've honoured that. It's important we honour people's words, you know. But with Archangel Michael, he said, why did you leave that on him? Like, why have you left that on him? That's dangerous. And Archangel Michael said to teach him a lesson. So he allowed an entity to bother me for about a 6-month period to make me wake up. That this is not a game. You are a spirit. You are a divine being. He didn't say it like that, but it's pretty much, you've got a purpose and you need to take it serious. And I thought, that's a bit harsh. Like, I usually hear Archangel Michael's kind to people, and I thought for him to treat me in that way, like, it means he expects a lot of me, you know. And again, that goes back to that divine part. But what had been happening, I didn't know this was happening. Again, I don't want to keep caveating it, but I know it can seem far-fetched. But Zach said that the angel, apparently, like what was happening was angels were pouring energy into me while this thing was trying to drain me. And Archangel Michael had said to Zach that as soon as it become a threat to me, like it tried to attack me, they would take it out. And that's what happened. So I was sitting there on the sofa. Now imagine all that's gone out your head. That's all later. That's after I spoke to Zach. I'm sitting on the sofa. Zach's already told me to start doing my protections. You need to learn to do those things. That's what he's getting told. That's the thing I need to work on. Don't worry about trying to tap into anything. Just get on with you. Just learn this core thing. It's important. Take it serious. Now, I'd never took it serious because I didn't know I needed to. And it was a bit of a hassle getting into this when you haven't never done it. So I sat on the sofa and I did a video for TikTok. I think I was doing a TikTok video and I was talking about this experience, trying to tell them to do people like you need to start doing protections and things. Because if I learn something, I try and share it quite quick. And as soon as I mentioned the protections, it was the weirdest feeling I've ever experienced in my life. It felt like something on my left ear. Sometimes my ears ring, but this was weird. This felt like a different pressure on my left ear. And then I felt this sensation all over my body. Now I get goosebumps and tingles, but this felt heavier. And it came over me, and then I struggled to even lift my arms. I was like, something was competing with me, and I thought, this is some dodgy shit. Like that was eerie. Let's be honest, that was eerie because you're thinking, how the hell do I deal with this? This is new. So I thought, I don't let anything dominate me. So I thought, right, first thing I'm doing, I'm going to empower myself. I'm standing up. If I can't barely lift my arms, you can best believe I'm going to throw myself up in the air. I'm going to get up. I'm not allowing dominance on me. So I did that, and then I quickly messaged Zach. I'm like, something's just happened. And what I'm learning through Zach is he's a healer. Again, I know how this all sounds. I'm just sharing it, and people can take what they want. So me and Zach spoke. He called me. I can't remember if he called me, if we texted on the phone. I think we just messaged each other. I can't remember now. That part, I'd have to go back to the book because that's a bit of a specific there. But then it went away from me. The feeling that it went. And later on, like Zach asked, like, well, what happened there to him? Like, what happened with that? And apparently, him speaking to me was enough to help me. That's weird, isn't it? Like, that was something like, well, that's new. And I say, I wasn't. It was a threat, but it was a controlled threat. But it made me wake up and go, wait a minute, this is serious. There's something here. Now I'm trying not to lose track. Like I say, Zach can do an awful lot. So what Zach was learning about me, because we was channeling, we was trying to find answers, is that he's advanced, yeah. So he's got all these abilities. He can communicate with Archangel Michael. He can see spirits. He can do energy cleansing. So he can deal with entities as well at a certain level. Even he was still learning that part. So again, we're all students. What we found was me and him are similar. Me and him have very, very similar gifts, and that was interesting because okay, so I'm seeing me in the future a little bit here. Like, you're doing that, I can do that then. That's cool. And so our paths were different. He'd started his spiritual journey before me. I went through more life experiences, trauma. Not to say he didn't have his own issues and his own problems, but I had a different level of trauma. But that was important for my journey to document because I'm here to help humanity as well. Like, we have our own journeys here. My journey is to document and help humanity heal in my own unique way. And then after that, I need to catch up. So what he said was, your development is rapid. You're a fast learner, and you're advancing quicker than most people. So that was what was happening with me and Kristen, for instance. I was she thought she was more high frequency. And Zach mentioned about Kristen. He said they're saying that you outgrew her. She had to go. We had to remove you from her and get on. Again, it's strange, isn't it? Again, I'm not competing with anyone. I don't really care if anyone's more advanced than me, better than me. I'm just saying, this is the journey, I'm not going to be able to remember every little thing. Then I found out my daughter has attachments to her, and it was causing all sorts. She was off school. She had problems with just her chest and things. Always ill and things. It was strange. So I don't know if it was Zach. That did it. I think Zach did a check on her. I think it was Zach. It must have been Zach. Yeah, it was Zach. So Zach did a check on her, and she had a lot of things around her, and that scared the shit out of me because I thought, that's not normal. That's not good. I don't want to divulge what her abilities is, but she's gifted, so it made her a target. And she had malevolent forces, literally some powerful ones as well. Like there's a really powerful one in their household, like ridiculously powerful, and it was beyond Zach's ability. But apparently, what was part of my training was that I would develop the ability to tackle the situation myself, and it'd be my initiation. But I was losing focus. So, like I said, my journey isn't just spiritual. So I understand it. I practice what I preach. I do this. I do that. But I've still got this world to deal with as well. And I'm like, so I don't have my head in the clouds. There was someone I was attracted to where we had drifted apart, but they were still on my mind a lot. And it was on my mind still, even while I'm dealing with Zach. I'm dealing with this spiritual upgrades, with learning. In hindsight, I should have dealt with it because he was only going to be, I think he was really going to be around for so long because he can't slow his path down for me, and that's the thing. He was higher, he's further along than me. So he's holding himself up a little bit to help me for a period because he felt called, because he was called to do it. Both follow our path. I was holding him back now because I'm obsessing about something that really I need to let go. So we had a channeling session, took me a lot of persistence, but the angels, my guides, they finally admitted that the person I'm obsessing about is my person. Yeah. But they're going through some things. It isn't the right time, but I was like, it should be the time. And I was warned, if you don't let it go, there'll be consequences. But it's your choice. So I didn't let it go. And the situation got worse, to be totally honest. Yeah. I don't want to go into that personal, but yeah. So we just drifted apart, I guess. I mean, if that's the easiest way to say it, it didn't work out in my favor at all. So that backfired big time, didn't it? But that's a life lesson. We learn. So now I know not to let things get in the way of my spiritual path. Lesson learned. Harsh, but learned. And then me and Zach had a bit of an issue, in terms of the way we are in life, not spiritual path, but just life. I feel he's a bit too sensitive, whereas I'm a bit too direct. So we clashed in that way. So anyway, recently I did a reading and I asked whether Michael Jackson was an earth angel, because I thought he was an earth angel because the what life he's had, the legacy and all those things. And it said no. I'm going to ask something else in a minute because I've got my cards with me. I'm going to ask in a little while. Then I asked, because I know I am an earth angel, been confirmed so many times. And then I said, am I an earth angel? And I got I think it was the Queen or King of Swords. I keep getting that quite a lot. So that's a truth teller. Things like that. And it's like communication and things like that. So again, look what I do. So that's, yeah, it's an absolute, you've got yes and no cards in tarot. It's a yes card. So it's okay. And then I said, is my daughter an earth angel? Because I thought by extension she would. He said no. I thought, okay. She got her own abilities, and I've tried to explain that to her. I said, it's not a competition. Maybe one day you will elevate to that. Now, through Zach, when we've had our sessions, there's so much I could talk about that session. I mean, just read the book at the end. It's great. But in the session, oh, wait a minute, it threw me right off there. Oh, I can't remember what I was going to say now, but we had some great sessions with the angels. It was really empowering. Yeah, I can't remember where I was going with that now. Ah, damn, I wish I'd mentioned that. It's thrown me for a loop. Yeah, I can't remember where I was going, unfortunately. But yeah, so my daughter's finding out her path, but it's not a competition. And like I say, oh yeah, that's it. So through the session with the angels and Archangel Michael, we asked, is this, because I think it's my last lifetime. I feel it and deep inside of me. Like I'm here to I'm here to leave something behind. And that's my contribution to humanity. And that's why I come here in the first place. I didn't come here to evolve. I feel I'm here spiritual training. I think to fight the other side in training on this side to a degree. But the main thing I'm here for is to contribute something to the world, which I've done and I'm doing. So I feel like I've fulfilled whatever I come here to do at the bare minimum, plus whatever comes next. But yeah, so I asked, is this my last lifetime? Because most people are going to come back because you've got to keep evolving, Who knows what the end goal is for most people? I don't know. I mean, because you could become a spirit guide for other people. You could be, who knows what other, the rankings you could be, a guardian angel, there's all sorts of things. And who knows where everything, you can go to a different star system and do a different experience, not going to be earthbound. Earth's just really heavy. It's the harshest place. So you can learn, you can evolve quicker here, but it's a harder place to learn, to evolve because of the challenges. So if you can overcome the distractions, temptations, and all the addictions and stuff, you can evolve so rapid, it'd be worth it. It's worth being here. If you don't, you really are wasting your potential. So anyway, we asked whether this is my last lifetime, and they said yes, unless you want another experience. So it's really my choice, but I can't. On the other side, you make your own decisions, don't you? Who knows what you say on the other side, what you decide on the other side. But anyway, bear in mind, Archangel Michael was quite harsh with me before, so it suggests that there's something big. And I recently asked the cards, because I'm doing this situation with Michael Jackson at the moment, which I've documented. I asked for the cards, will I meet Michael Jackson in the afterlife? And it said no. Bear in mind, I've already asked, will Michael Jackson have another lifetime on Earth? And it said yes. So Michael Jackson's going to come back at some point in another form. So maybe our paths cross. Like he goes there as I come out. I don't know how the time's going to work, but we've all got our own path. It's not about meeting every single being, So okay, that's a bit of a shame. But yeah, okay. So I'm doing this work for Michael Jackson at the moment, and I'm going to ask later on. I'm going to ask for the cards as well. Something else. But then I said, will I meet Jesus on the other side? That was more. It wasn't a dead no, but it was more of a no. I thought, okay, this is getting confusing. Like, what am I actually doing on the other side? But I know I'm a warrior of light. That was said to me. I don't want to go too far into it because I know I'm not supposed to talk about every little thing. But from what I'm gathering, as an earth angel, think about people think angels are just all like cuddly and cute. It's like, it's not. Angels are warriors. Angels have got to fight the demons and the negative entities and things, So on the other side, that's what you're doing. So on this side, we're fighting against injustices, aren't we? So we've come here to fight the good fight, which means justice, fairness, honesty, integrity. They're all the values I stand by, so it kind of makes sense to me. Then on the other side, wait a minute, I'm not going to meet Michael Jackson. It's unlikely I'm meeting Jesus. I wonder if I'm going into the fight. And where would you go? Think about it this way. Anyone that's spiritual, that's under any understanding of the echelon up in source, who would we, I can't remember how you'd say it. Who would we go to? Like if you was in the army or something, who would you go to? So I said, will I meet Archangel Michael on the other side? And I got the Sun card. Pretty sure it's the Sun card, so like an absolute yes. Yeah, it was the Sun card. So yeah, you're definitely going to him. Which means, what does that mean? Archangel Michael is the biggest warrior of light you're going to get. And so I'm one of his, so what I figured there then, okay, so I'm one of his soldiers on the other side that's come here in this lifetime, hence why he kicks my ass sometimes, and I'm getting huge goosebumps now. And I've done various readings. You've just seen it where I'm asking, when if I've passed the test or I'm doing something, what does Jesus think of my journey? Well, what does Jesus think what I'm doing now? Always really, really approving. Always, yes, it's always nice. Then ask what Buddha thinks. It's always nice. Jesus usually gives me more cards than Buddha. Buddha usually one card. It's interesting that, isn't it? Like, ask the question, they're the cards that come out. Ask my guides. Then I say, what does Archangel Michael think? He's usually harsher. He expects the standards so high, But it means that maybe I have to buck up sometimes and get on with it. I can't afford pity parties for too long. Doesn't mean I don't have bad days just like everybody else, and I do, but I don't stay there for long periods. If let's say it takes someone a week to get over something, I'll probably get over it in about 3 hours. If it takes someone a month to get over it, like really fester, I'll be over it in a day. So I still feel it, but just not to the extent that everybody else does, If someone was like down in the dumps for a whole day, I'm probably only down in the dumps for like half an hour. And it's just the way I am. I transition beyond shit so quick because I've just got no time for it. I feel it, I process it, I transmute it, get on. And that's really what I'm here to do. It's almost like a machine. I guess doesn't mean I don't feel the pain, but I just feel it intensely. I process it in me. Like sometimes I feel like I'm going to burst. Like my head feels like it's going to explode and shit, but it's just, I'm like processing it in a vacuum or something, It's crazy. I know we've gone on quite long here. We still haven't touched the afterlife, have we? But I think realistically, the afterlife's going to be far shorter because I think we're already touching on what's happening here. I think if you look at what my experiences are, what does it tell me? When our life extinguishes, our soul returns back to source. We just detach from the vessel that we are. So I just see this as, you could call it the meat suit. It might be a horrible way of putting it, but it's just a vessel. Now, I believe we all look a certain way because we need that to look that way for whatever we're here to do. Yeah, it might be more challenging for some people, but again, that's their path because it's something they've got to overcome as part of their lesson. You know, some people. Let's say for this instance, let's say people like my tone of voice and the way I articulate, the word choices I use. Let's say it's all those sort of things. Well, that would make sense because I'm here to communicate. That's my role. Think of it like a job. That's my job. That's my skill set. That's what I was given in this lifetime because that's what was needed to fulfill this path. So that's what I'm here to do. So it's not that complicated once you figure out what you're here for. Now, look, I know some people would have their heads in the clouds. You get if for one moment you feel you're an earth angel, they'd start thinking I'm better than everyone else. But then that shows you're not an earth angel anyway, doesn't it? I think if you lose yourself to something, then it shows you're not. If you're pure, because that's what angels are. They're going to be pure beings, but of course they're going to be feisty as well because you've got to fight. But I just think that's where you naturally. So what I'm saying there is, I'm not trying to validate anything. I don't care what the opinions are. It starts to make you look around and think, wait a minute, yeah, that one. Everyone goes through hard times. So don't think that if you make a mistake, it can't possibly be someone it could be. But what I'm realizing, because I know very, very special people, and they're not earth angels, I'm realizing it's far rarer than I thought initially. I thought there was many earth angels here, but I'm starting to realize it's not that many. It's probably it's probably a lot if you add them together. But when you think of the world population, it's not a lot at all. I can't say how many. I don't know the answer to it personally. But I know people that I would consider special, and I would thought maybe they are. They're not. But then maybe their path isn't to be a warrior yet, and you don't know what they're going to be. My daughter has very good, very, very, very special spiritual gifts. And what does that mean for her on the other side? I don't know. Like, does this mean on the other side she becomes a spirit guide for someone? Does it? Well, I don't know. I don't know all of the absolute ranks over there. Or at the moment, all I know because of what I tap into is I've got my spirit guides who I deal with all the time, and I'll talk to them out loud and all sorts of stuff. And it's beautiful. And they'll always answer me through my cards. Well, I'll say always. If I ask a question repeatedly and they get fed up answering me, they won't answer. And that's the thing when I'm shuffling. If they don't want to answer, nothing's coming. It's just the way it is. So, they can get fed up with me as well because, listen. They want you to listen, pay attention. So I know they are there. And then when I ask stuff, I think about ascended masters. So you have guardian angels, but I don't tap into that. I don't feel a need to. I've got spirit guides, and then I jump from my spirit guides to ascended masters, like Jesus, Yeshua, Buddha. They're the two I focus on. So if I've got a question, I'll ask my guides what they think, because they're with me all the time, and then I'll think, what does Jesus think of anything I'm doing, or Buddha, or are they aware of who I am? And maybe I'll ask about people. I might say, does this entity know who I am? Does this entity, just out of curiosity, it's a question, isn't it? And then I'll go and ask, what does Archangel Michael think? Now you've got all the archangels. I just focus mainly on him, and I have this feeling that's who I'm supposed to report to anyway. So I'll ask. It's almost like a report. How do you think I'm doing at the minute? How do you think I did through that? And then we go higher, which, from my understanding, is the highest. But students of the game might be wrong. The Council of Light, which I would suggest is the equivalent of God. And they're the ones who ordain everything. They're the ones maybe you're not allowed to. Let's say I'm getting petulant. I'm like, give me my breakthrough. I've had enough. And my spirit guides are maybe they're trying to tug on my behalf, going, look, we need to help him here. He's having a breakdown. Because it's hard. And it may be from the higher, maybe the ranking up there, say, no, we've got another test for him. He can handle it. That's not fair for me. And I'm thinking, this isn't right. I'm down tools. I've had enough. And then before you know it, I'm back doing what I've got to do anyway. And I toe the line. So they're the ones who are orchestrating a lot of our paths. So what I know, based on all of that, and I've heard accounts of what happens. I've heard what Zach's told me, and we've established. Oh, maybe I haven't. I don't know if I've established this part yet. Zach's an Earth Angel too. I asked about all the people. They were not. I was. The others weren't. And I thought, I bet Zach is, because he was very gifted, and he said we're very similar in abilities and things, and our mission is similar, just in different ways. He's an Earth Angel as well. I don't know if it's the 8 of Cups for him. I think it might have been. Can't remember. But anyway, the yes card. Absolute yes. So, yeah, Zach's an Earth Angel too. So that's interesting. So I've happened across at least one in my lifetime. And I think he's probably the only one, to be totally honest. So what do I know about that then? If Zach's an Earth Angel, all we established, I can trust him. He's not going to lie to me. He's only here to help me, and we've got a similar goal and objective, So, so what does he tell me? Now, I can't say everything he said because it's between me and him. It's really hard for me to go there. But believe me, he's had experiences that I wish I could disclose, but it was beautiful for me to hear. So anyway, beyond that, let's go to the other side where I hear first count experiences from you hear it multiple times where people have died, they've seen a light. And then on the other side, they're met by a past loved one. Someone meets them. Then they meet an angel. And then they're given their end of life review. They get to see and experience, feel. It's a feeling. They get to feel the good they did and the bad they did. And it's not to punish, it's to show you and so you can experience it and understand. Again, it's about evolution. So the more bad things you do, the more you're going to feel regretful at the end. You're going to get to the end and go, oh, God damn, I wasted my life. I can't believe I did all that. Well, that didn't help me at all. And it derailed that person. It didn't do that. But from your own personal journey, it just hasn't done you any good. So what a waste of a life. Just spent all that time doing the wrong things. That was so stupid and reckless. What did I do? So why not focus on doing the right thing? So then when your review comes through, it's not bad. Yeah, it might be the odd bad moment, but that was part of your learning anyway. So, and then you'll get to a stage where you're detoxing. You have to. It's not like an abrupt transition. You have to get used to the fact that your life is no longer as it was, and you've got to get back to being your purest self. And then from there, you will go on to the next stages of your advancement. And that's why, let's say you want to tap into your grandma. She passed away. You really want to hear from her. You won't always be able to. And then see people will think, oh, it's fake. It's not. They've got their own journey. Their journey isn't tied to you on a daily basis. They've got to go through their own training. They've got to go through their own schedule. They've got to go through their own growth on the other side. And then they're going to come back and have their own life again. And that's the circle. That is literally the circle of life. So sometimes they will be able to answer. If they're available, they can help and answer a question if you need support. And sometimes at various stages, they will interact. Maybe your candle flickers. Maybe your lights are going mental. Had that many times. That was a crazy experience I had. At my mum's home, only when I turned up, the candles started flickering. It wasn't immediately when I turned up. It just hadn't done it before. So I'm visiting, sitting in the living room. I have to travel quite a distance to get there, by the way. So we're sitting there, and then the lights on for a bit, and then all of a sudden it's just flickering like crazy. We've had it on multiple rooms, by the way, but this room was specific, the hallway. And it was going absolutely mental. And she was trying to mess with the bulb, see if she could fix it. It wouldn't fix. Then I stood underneath it and it stopped. And she was like, whoa. And I was like, that's mad. Anyway, so of course it could be me standing under it is something trying to communicate with me, and it's got the message, I don't know what it was trying to say, but it could be any spirit. It could be past love, past someone passed over. It could be my guys. It could be anyone and anything. Or it could, you could put it down to the fact that I have a high vibration and it's my energy interacting with it, and it was enough to stop it from going mental. Because maybe the energy is fluctuating and my energy is high vibrational. It was enough to make it an equilibrium of the current or something. I don't know, I'm only showing experience. But yeah, so from my understanding, the spirits have their own experiences. What I did learn, because I had my own opinion on it, was that when we have funerals, the loved ones, the ones that crossed over, do watch, and they do enjoy watching it. They like to see how people, they just like to witness it and see how everybody loved them and things. But they don't take it personal if you don't attend. So it's not a case of, oh, I've let them down. It's not that at all. So yeah, that was interesting because I felt, again, if we're going to talk again, this is where we're learning. I felt it was just, you're just saying goodbye to a body. I felt their spirit. I felt their spirit has already transitioned and it was already going on their journey. It's going through the various stages on the other side. It's not going to they're not going to be watching that, but apparently they do. They really do watch over that and they like it, which makes sense because I've had sessions with mediums and they've channeled through with my mum. They said certain things that I wasn't aware of beforehand, and it was things that she only knew, and it was bizarre to me because I didn't even know about it. And she was confirming yes, and I'm like, wow. And some of the things were to do with the funeral, so I thought that was quite bizarre. So I have all these experiences, and on the other side, so what I haven't touched on is David Warfer now. So Zach is someone who can communicate with spirit source. He's very gifted. He can do energy cleansings. He can do all those sort of things. David Wolfer has his own books. I've mentioned it in my book. He is a I think one of his books is like that. He's a warrior of light and dark. So he, on the other side, he can. It's really hard. If you would have to have if you had a conversation with him, blow your mind. It's like I've learned from incredible people, and I know when someone knows what they're talking about. This isn't a case of they're pulling the wool over my eyes. So when my daughter had these entities around her, Zach suggested I reach out to. And I don't know if Zach Zach didn't do that. Zach left it with me, actually, I think. So when Zach went his own way, I think he left the situation with me to deal with my daughter. Not in a spiteful way. I can't remember the exact circumstances of why that, the timing of all of it. But when we was getting along, he spoke to me about David Wolfer, and he admires him and things. I didn't even know who he was, but he was a big fan of David Wolfer. And I thought, I don't have a clue, I don't revere people either, though, so I didn't really understand. So somehow me and David Wolfer got to know each other a little bit, weirdly enough. Like Zach always wanted his attention, but never really got it. And yet, effortlessly, me and David Wolfer just started communicating. I don't know, things just line up like that, I guess. So when Zach left, I was stuck with this situation. I thought, I'm not prepared to do that. I can't even see these things yet. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, and I don't want to leave her stuck with this. Any malevolent things attached to her. So I reached out to David Wolfer and said, Zach said this. He said it's for me to deal with, and Archangel Michael's saying that's part of my initiation. And he was like, well, that's not right. That can't be right. That's dangerous. You shouldn't be doing that. That's dangerous. You're not ready for that. Because you're literally tackling entities here that can be quite powerful. So he went back to, from my understanding, I'm going to say what he said. He went and channeled through to his guides, and then because he's quite feisty, and on the other side he's feisty because we all have our own roles. He's to work with the dark entities as well as the light. He's more of a light worker, but he does deal with the dark. So it's almost like a negotiation. So let's say something's really bad, something's dodgy down there. He can fight it, but then he can also return it back to them. It's a strange thing. It's a real situation he has going on. He's fighting shit, like serious. So he had the argument with the angels that like this isn't right because they confirmed yes, that's what's planned for him. And then David Wolf was like, that's not fair. He shouldn't have to do that. So he was negotiating on it, and it turned out that if I give, or was it before that? I can't remember exactly how it goes now because I remember him saying something like that, and then he comes back, and then I said, well, would you be able to deal with it for me then? And then he said, like, you'd have to ask for permission. You'd have to ask the angels yourself. You're going to have to ask them. If they say yes, then I will do it. So I had to use my tarot cards, and I just used them. I said, can David Wolfer do this for me? And it came out yes. So I said, oh, you said yeah. They said yeah. And then he's had to get the clarification at his end, and he said, right, yeah, I can do this. And that's when he said, yeah. There's a lot of things in the house, and they were coming in for I think it's a mirror. You got to be careful with mirrors, by the way. It was like a portal. They were coming in through that mirror, and my daughter had weird attachments to her, like really bad ones. And he cleansed that, and I kid you not, people can believe what we want. She was her health rapidly increased after that. She was having time off all the time. All of a sudden, she weren't feeling sick. She was going back to school. So that shows that who knows what if that's surrounding her, and I've had something behind me which I never thought would happen or existed. Who knows what everybody else has got? That's why we need to do our protections as well, because you don't know what's attached to someone, and they can attach to you, and it can start messing with your life. And people can obviously do spell work as well. So there's all those different things we've got to be mindful of. And of course, the more popular you are, the more energy can come be attacked to you. So you might get more lifeless, more tired, drained, all these things going wrong. Again, we've got to look after ourselves. So he did all that, and he gave me a report. It was actually really cool. He gave me a whole report on everything that happened and told me a bit about what her path is a little bit. Didn't go too deep into it. One of the things that stood with me was what he's being told is or his guides are telling him, because now his guides are advanced. They said, because they're serious, not messing about. They said it's really important that he understands, although he's her father, she has her own path and it's not for him to interfere. And it was hard for me because I'm a parent, It's like, no, she's my child. But I knew on a deeper level, I get it. I have my own path in this life. She has her own path in this life. She's not here. She's not my shadow. I can give her the tools to grow and go out into the real world, and I can teach her from my spiritual journey, my activation, and it's all those things. But she has her own thing. So like, I can't protect her from everything effectively, essentially, So she's got to protect herself and needs to learn too. And that's really what it was about. Like, she needs to start doing this too. It's important for her. And recently, so with all that in mind, crazy as it is, we was on FaceTime yesterday and she felt something was in her hallway. Or the other day, she was actually sitting with me. We was on FaceTime together and she said she needs to get dressed. She'd been in bed for a bit and her wardrobe opened on its own and freaked her out a little bit. I said, well, did it? Yeah, I don't care about things like that anymore. I'm like, well, that's cool. Nothing's new to me anymore. It's not a surprise. So yeah, I was like, well, why don't you just get changed then? I'm not. She didn't really want to at first, and she did. But anyway, yesterday, she said she thinks something. She could feel like she thinks there might be something because she's gifted. So she felt something might be in the hallway. In her hallway. Yeah, we're doing FaceTime because she doesn't live with me. She lives with her mum. And I said, well, ask your cards. Is something in the hallway? I can't remember if I think she did the cards. It was yes. I think there was. Oh no, was I the one asking it? I can't remember now. I think when she did it, when she said, I think I'm the one that asked, is there something in the hallway? Yeah, because she was talking about something, and I said, is something? So I asked my cards, is something in her hallway, like a negative entity in her hallway? And it said yes. I was like, right. So I said, is it attached to her? So does it just follow her around? Is it attached to her? And it was an absolute no, like 10 of swords. No. It couldn't have had a bigger no, to be totally honest. Then I said, okay, is it attached to her mum? No. I was like, this is confusing. It's not attached to her mum. It's not attached to her. I can't think of like really who it's going to be because they're the ones. So I said, is it attached to the house? Yes. Ooh. Okay, that's some weird shit. So it's not following them. It's actually tied to this house, which probably for these portal things. But then I thought about it and I thought, and I think she asked it, or did I ask it? One of us asked the question anyway, is there multiples there? And I think I did. Is there multiples in their house? Like, not just the one now. We know there's one, and we know it's attached to the house. Is there multiples? Yes. Well, okay, this is dodgy as shit. So their house has got entities in there, and my daughter just, she's found a way to cope with it. But that's not a nice thing to know, is it, you're experiencing, But anyway, so, again, was it? I can't remember if my daughter asked the question, if I asked the question now. I don't know if she did. Is she strong enough to, I think she did because she asked me about it. She was thinking that. Is she strong enough to fight it? Like, is she strong enough to beat it? Is she more powerful, I think is the word. Is she more powerful than the entity in the hallway? No. And then I thought, I'll ask mine. Am I more powerful than the entity in the hallway? Yes. And it's quite powerful, yes. And I thought, well, if I am going to be fighting shit on the other side, it makes sense to reason I'm probably more powerful than these. So yeah, I'm more powerful. I don't really get bothered anymore so much. But there is incidents I've had, maybe a couple months ago, and it happens. I've spoken about it before. It usually happens like every 3 or 4 months. But I haven't had it recently, so I'll probably do something soon. But yeah, so anyway, she's had that, and then she's a bit offended by that. But I did to her, I said, well, you don't do your protections anyway. Like like even if you get visions of things and you've got gifts, that's not going to be that'll attract them to you. That's not going to help fight them off. You've got to start taking things a bit serious. That's what I said. But I've had incidents where I've been attacked in. Again, this is where I know the difference between being a dream. I don't really dream, and I was going to ask questions about that at some point. I don't really dream. My mind goes blank for the most part. So if I get a vision, it's a vision, or it's an experience. It just comes out of nowhere. And I've had this witch thing that just bothers me. And it's around the home, and it's always the same similar scenario. And it's one of those where you just want to get out of the building. And every time you go towards the door and you want to unlock it, because you have to unlock it first and get out of the building, every time you get there, that thing's coming at you. Or maybe sometimes you've left something behind and you have to go back You think, shit, I need to go. Like, let's say my keys are upstairs. Let's say the keys are upstairs in this vision, and they're prowling around up there and it's dark. Because you know where it triggers in my vision. What happens is it's the moment I'm in, like you're there, and then you try to turn the light on because the lights have gone off, and you try to, and it doesn't come on. That's when I know I get goosebumps and shit. I know it's on. I'm like, oh, shit. I don't need this shit. I know how powerful that thing is because I had a vision of it in the past. This is something that bothers me sometimes. I don't know if it's part of my training or whether it's just some being, but it's tried to tap me at my mum's at night when I'm asleep, when I'm trying to sleep when you get this vision. And then the next time it tried doing it, and I thought, I'm not putting up with this shit. So I charged it and it pinned me down. So I knew how powerful it was. But I've had it a few times as well around this thing. So anyway, when the light goes off, you can't turn it back on. I'm like, oh shit, it's this again. And sometimes you got to go upstairs to try and get these keys. It's like being a horror film, to be totally honest. But you're like, what choice you got? So, I usually get out of it. But I've had some weird shit. Like, it's been weird. I've even spoke to it at one point because I thought, what's going on? I said, why do you keep bothering me? And it shocked the shit out of me. And I thought, I don't even know what that means, but that's dodgy as shit because I know I'm powerful based on everything I've learned. So I said, what is it you want from me? And it wants to procreate. And I don't even know what that means on the other side. What the hell are you talking about? But I said, that is never going to happen. That's never going to happen. Like, I'm not creating some sort of powerful negative entity. Not trying to elevate myself. It's just that, no, I'm not. But that's just weird shit. I think after experiences, and I think I've asked questions, I think it might be Hecate. Anyone knows Hecate? She's like a light and dark witch thing. I don't really know, like a goddess, deity. I'm pretty sure, which hence why I got pinned down so violently, and it's like, oh, that's great. Anyway, look, I know we have only touched, but I said at the beginning there, we might only touch a little bit on the afterlife. I'm not sure how much we'd be able to discuss that because I only know so much. A lot of it, we're only really going to know the true depths of it and what it looks like when we're on the other side. The one thing I would say is I've never been attracted to science. I struggled with science at school because I didn't have an interest in it. I don't particularly like science. I think often they dismiss things, acting like they're the messiahs of every bit of information, and I just think you're full of shit. They often say that when you die, it's nothing like that. It's something to do with a nerve in your brain or something. It's the last thing to switch off, so you see a light, and that's why it is. And it's like, until you can give me a hologram of that shit, then I'm not interested because there's too many accounts of alternate things, and based on my experiences and things, it's like it doesn't add up. I think it's just them validating something, and they just always want to have the answers to shit. And then one day they'll figure it out and go, oh, we didn't. Oh, this. It always act like it's always when they want to know something. I think they're behind an awful lot of spirituality. To be totally honest, I mean, it is said that there's a lot to be learned in Egypt. Like, there's a lot. They were far advanced, and from my understanding, they had sort of interaction with alien beings, which advanced their race. So there is interest there. So, well, as we talk about the afterlife, I think it's really interesting to consider the fact that, like I said, Archangel, I've got confirmation that Michael Jackson's will have another life, but I've also tapped into my past to a degree. I haven't had a past life regression, but I've asked through my cards, and I've had a past life in Egypt, and now I get a lot of TikToks. Well, not a lot, but I get some that refer to the fact that you've had a past life in Egypt. And when I asked the questions, I was a scholar. So I was, at some point in history, I was documenting and journaling things, probably similar to what I do now where I'm writing. And I was doing it on the other side. But I didn't, I fled Egypt because I didn't agree with the atrocities and things. Because I was asking things for that, and it was like coming up. Then I found out about my guides, what they were. One was like a philosopher. The other was an Egyptian, may even be an Egyptian deity. I can't remember what the other one was. I think you get the 2 or 3, but I know 2 of them are like that. One is Scott. So I know, for instance, if I'm working on my books, it makes one of my spirit guides definitely happy. So it's really important. And I don't want them bored. So it's like, yeah, okay, we work on a project. But anyway, that's what I know. And I know it can seem extreme to people, and I can only share what I've learned. And I'm going to uncover more as I get on with my journey, But it's all quite exciting. What I was going to ask, I've got my cards, but I've not really got anything to ask now because I've covered so much. I'm going to ask about Michael Jackson specifically at the minute because I've been doing a lot on him. I'm not going to I'm not going to meet him on the other side by the look of it because I just don't. Our paths don't align in that sense. We've got different things to do, you know. What I want to do is find out because I can ask him questions through my cards, you see. But what I might do is think because I want to have. If I can't meet him on the other side, maybe while he's over there, I can have a I might be able to have a session with him, meditate. If I meditate, because that's something else I've had a meditation, and it's something I don't do a lot because I'm always exhausted. Like if I look tired now, you might not see it. I've had like 4 hours sleep. I struggle like shit sometimes. My mind's always firing, and I've struggled to relax sometimes. You know, and it's my downfall. That's the one thing I need to learn to do. If I can do that, I'd advance even faster. But it's just something I struggle with. So I don't meditate because I'm always doing something, you know. But when I had a vision one time, one of the visions I had, it was actually surreal. I've had a couple. One was, I've said about it before. It was when I accomplished something. I don't know if it's my books or something. I'd done something and I thought, I think I've done something big here. It might not have even been the books because I'm always doing them. It might have been a video I created or something. I just thought, you done something. It was a while ago, maybe a year ago or so, I think. I had, in this situation, I had Jesus come up to me. And I knew it was Jesus. You know, you just know this is Jesus. I'm actually in front, having a moment with Jesus. That's crazy. And he come up to me. And as he was approaching, it was all the ground was barren before, and it all just started blossoming. These flowers, everything just started coming out. It was incredibly beautiful. And then he came up to me, approached me, and gave me a hug. He was like, "Well done." And I was like, "Well," I knew I'd done something. That's surreal, isn't it? And another vision I had that was the vision later. The one I had before that, I don't know how early before that, I can't remember the sequence too deep now. I can see picture a little bit. I know Jesus was in a classroom. He was teaching. It was more of a modern classroom. It's not like back in the day. He was teaching a classroom. And I knew it was Jesus. That's Jesus. He's teaching the classroom. And then I had these angels I was flying with these angels, a bit like Tinkerbell and that, but Peter Pan, you know, we're flying together. We're going across this like water. It was like crazy. And I can't remember the exact sequence though. I know what happened with the things. I know there was a tree, a big oak tree. It was quite surreal. And it was all, I understood I understood what all these messages were. Jesus is teaching. There's an oak tree. Oak trees signify knowledge. And I had this crow with one eye or whatever it was, and it was just honed in on me. So it's like you're being watched. But I knew overall it meant you're being monitored, you're being watched because you're here to teach people. And I'm getting goosebumps now. But the angels were the ones guiding me, showed me that the angels are supporting me, which kind of goes back to that message back in 2020. I'm like, okay. And I look at what I've been doing ever since, and it's like, I've done a lot. And then later on, I had the Jesus vision, which was quite surreal to me. But I don't meditate anywhere near enough, you know. So my question here is going to be: if I meditate, will I get an audio, like a session with Michael Jackson? I think that'd be cool because I'm working on this chapter. I think it'd be pretty cool just to hear from him. Really, doesn't mean it will. I'm not expecting anything. It could be a yes, it could be a no. It could be any or whatever. I try and do it as transparent as I can here. I mean, I can only have the camera to a certain angle. I don't know what angle people would prefer because I'm not doing anything. It's just all I ever do is shuffle until a card flies out. That's all I do. I don't do aggressive shuffling like you see on like social media. They go mental. I don't know. I mean, maybe I can move the camera there if it helps. I don't know. I mean, I don't care to be totally honest. I just like to be transparent, you know. I just want people to see that I'm not doing anything to these cards. So they're here, I guess. I just want to show. It probably got. I can't. I'm not going to preempt anything. I have no idea. Is that high enough? What do you want? I don't know what the right height is. This is. I think that's fair. So this is what we do. We knock 3 times because we're clearing the energy. Zach taught me that. I didn't have a clue before. So we're doing that. That's clearing the energy. Yeah. Now we can ask the question again. Because I'm waffling, I want to do it again. If I meditate, will I get to communicate with Michael Jackson? So you can see you've got the cards here. I'm going to just do it there. You can see I'm not doing anything. Well, that's a big yes, that one. Oh, but it's all yeses. I actually thought maybe it's going to be no, because I think you just naturally think there's no, it's impossible. This is overflowing with love. That's like emotions overflowing. It's beautiful. This is, the pages are like childlike. So it's an innocent, it's like almost like it's not that serious. It's just, it'd be playful. It'd be nice. But yeah, so we got this one and this one. And then we've also got a 10 of cups, which is all your cups fulfilled. It's like, it's almost like life changing, you know? But that is, isn't it? An audience of Michael Jackson. You're having a laugh. That's crazy, because I ask him questions through my cards and I'm getting answers, and I'm thinking I'm not going to see him. I won't get to experience him on the other side, and I'd like to have a moment with him. That'd be pretty cool. So this is ridiculous. Like, you couldn't. I mean, you got the Ace of Cups and the freaking 10 of Cups. I don't know what's on the back of the deck. Oh, freaking hell! Back of the deck. Temperance is healing, so that's going to be very therapeutic. It's going to be very helpful. That's mental. That's exciting. That's something to now. I mean, look at what are the odds? All these cards, like if you was to say, like you have them. I'm trying to do it on the camera there a little bit, but to have these cards is, and that's what I'm talking about. The consistency. It's not like you get this inconsistency where you get this up and down. You don't know what the answer is. Like, is it yes or is it no? It's always like, this is your answer. It's ridiculously beautiful. The amount of love in this, love and fulfillment, it's crazy. But again, this is my experience. This is what I have. So, you know, like I say, what we see here on this on this world, what we experience is only part of it. You know, on the other side, they get to see. They know your ranking, so they know why you're here, and they're going to know the quality of your soul. In a sense, are you corrupt? Are you deceitful? You know, what can I trust you? And I've already had the cards where like he trusts me, and I think that's beautiful. So again, it ties into that divine part as well. You know. But again, it's not a competition, so I don't say all these things to try to elevate myself above other people. I just think it's just I'm just sharing my path, and hopefully it provides perspective. Most people are not going to have to fight freaking demons and shit, but at the very least, do you learn to put like this white shield around you? It's a vision. I did it the other day. I hadn't done it for a little while, which is my own bad part, but I've been going through some shit. I've been busy, and it's important I take it serious. So I was having a bit of trouble, and I thought I've got to get this light out. Now I can do things with light in my mind that my daughter can't do. She says she struggles to do that. And I was like, oh, I find it quite easy. But I do ask after sometimes. I'll pull my cards out and I say, did I do the protection right? Did it work? And yeah. Well, it might say no, but you lose it, yeah. And I was like, that's great. So, for instance, I can make it like once I get the light pulsing in my mind, like it's dark normally, and then you make it light. Got to do that, and then I make it swell, like a bit like Harry Potter. It just swells and gets more powerful and powerful and powerful. Then I just make it like it obliterates the room pretty much, and then I put like this white shield around me and make sure I'm protected and things, you know. But if I'm struggling with it, the other day I did it and I thought this is taking ages, so I just imagined my heart, because I thought, where's the purest part of me? It's my heart. So I imagined like from my chest, from my heart, this light coming out, and it just freaking exploded. I was like, holy shit, that was great. So these experiences, you could have, but you know, you can't prove that. I can't put a camera in the other realms, you know, and things like that. You just, all you can do is share your experience and let people believe what they want to believe or not believe. But it's just, it's not about following someone else's path, you know, and then fully integrating into that. I always say that you don't have to pray, you don't have to worship, you don't have to keep being thankful for everything. Like in that sense, if you, as long as you're in alignment with your path, it's enough. So you don't have to be spiritual, you don't have to be religious. You just have to be purely and honestly you, and try to live life in the best way possible, you know, and not just, you know, just try to be fair and honest. That's a great start. And that's what I say. So it isn't about other people trying to develop what I do and things like that. It's not the same. You know, people won't have the same path. Just trying to think really what I could ask now, because I asked about that. I'm going to ask this because I'm curious. I don't think he is, because he's coming back. Because of Michelangelo now. Michael Jackson isn't an earth angel, which surprised me because of his kindness and compassion. But Jesus is an ascended master. I wonder if Michael Jackson's an ascended master. But then I have asked if he's coming back again. But then religious scholars all say that Jesus will have another lifetime on earth. He will come back resurrected or whatever is going to happen. So that's potentially could happen. I'm curious. But what I'm saying is when you have children, though, it doesn't necessarily mean that level transcends. Because like, I thought naturally my daughter would then be an earth angel too, but she's not. But she's got gifts. Okay. Is Michael Jackson an ascended master? Oh, wait a minute. I've got to do this because you can't see the shuffle. I'm trying to keep it as honest as I can. Look, I can't. God damn it. I don't think I can bend it anymore. This like this? I'm trying to keep it as fair as I can. Right, let's do it again. Clear the engine. Is Michael Jackson an ascended master? See, some of them are like popping a little bit, and I don't, because they're not actually bouncing out, I'm not taking them. They can go round again, is the way I see it. Oh, they're messing a bit. Wait a minute, I've just got to try to sort this out. You have to ask again because the cards are going a bit messy. Sometimes there's signs within that, if it's a bit messy, what's the meaning behind that? My daughter had a card the other day. She had two cards, and there was one card literally, it felt like it was glued to the other. She figured it out, and it was contradicted the entirety of that other card. And I said, that's because that card's blocking you. I think one was the devil, so it's like addictions, it's vices, it's things that are distracting you, it's obsessions, So what it was showing was your overthinking is stopping that from happening. It's blocking that on purpose. I think it was to do with them spirit things, to be totally honest. Yeah. Anyway, is Michael Jackson an ascended master? Oh, it's just not happening. You know what I'm thinking? It happens sometimes. Sometimes my guides don't want to answer. Maybe the public ain't supposed to know. I can't. That happens sometimes. It's not a bad thing. It just means that they're not supposed to know this. I don't know the answer to it. He either is or he isn't. Maybe when I turn the camera off, I'll get an answer, but I'm not really going to push it because we don't always need to know that. Trying to think what I'd need to ask. Okay, we'll do this one just random. What does Jesus think about me supporting Michael Jackson in my latest book? Oh no, let's not say the latest book. Let's say the recent work I've done. What does Jesus think about the recent work I've done on documenting Michael Jackson? Mm. That's interesting, isn't it? If you actually look at it, what does he think about it? You're fighting his corner, isn't it? If we're talking about a warrior, what are you doing? You've got all this coming at, and you're fighting. You're fighting for him. That's interesting because that's exactly what I'm doing. That's actually pretty mental. Bottom deck might not be relevant, but if you are, we're talking about the end of a cycle, so like a chapter's completely finishing. It's kind of feel like that in my life, actually. What else we got? So that's to do with the Michael Jackson stuff. Okay. What does Jesus think about me? Oh, wait a minute. What does Jesus think about my progress in documenting the spiritual path? Hmm. Got this one come out. I don't know if you saw it come out or not. Ha! What did I say? Like all your fulfillment. It's like really happy. That's ridiculously happy. He's really happy with the progress I've made in documenting the spiritual path. Hell yeah. I love that for me. But that's what I'm saying. I've tried my best. I can only do so much. What else we got? Yeah, I like that. I get goosebumps. I get like a weird feeling on my legs. Mm. What does Jesus think about my progress in this lifetime so far? Oh, I just can't shuffle properly. Oh, I've got one. Oh, I get this a lot with him. You know when I said about the thing, adventure? He always sees me pushing forward. So what does he think of my progress in this lifetime so far? I'm always pushing forward, going after something. You know, it's like an adventurer. So I never stay still, and I'm always pushing forward, and that's what he thinks. I love that. Could ask. Oh, justice as well. Ah, that's cool, man. That's actually really cool. I'll do this last one. Will Jesus come back and have another lifetime on earth? I've got one. Absolute yes. Jesus has come back. I find that quite curious. Michael Jackson's come back. Jesus has come back. Maybe Michael Jackson's sending master. Maybe he's not, but I don't get to know that right now. But Jesus is coming back. Back of the deck. Again, standing his ground. Look at that. That's beautiful. But yeah, anyway, I hope this has been enough information. You know, I don't want to go around in circles and things. I just know the ranking on the other side. You know, you've got the negative realms. So you've got like frequencies. You've got low frequency. It goes up in frequency ranges where you will sort of like reside in spirit source, and then you'll decide your path with the angels. You decide what you're going to experience, where you want to go. So you want to go Earth? Do you want to go somewhere else? You know, and again, it's all about the evolution, so isn't it? So it's advancing ourselves. So much as some people get lost in this world and they hate it, it's like you agreed to be here, whether you realize it now or not. It was all we all decided this decision. And again, some of the worst things we go through is part of our training, though. You know, you're not always going to experience the beautiful side. Someone that had a beautiful life in a previous life, maybe they're going to have a harder life in this life to even it out, you know, because you've got to take all the experiences on board. So you're never going to, like, think about it this. If you ever think your way all the time, are you going to learn compassion, forgiveness, and all those things? Because you never felt any betrayal or anything. But by learning the betrayals and learning the hardships, you can learn the other things as well, which are quite beautiful traits to have. So it's encompassing all, isn't it? But yeah, I think hopefully this has been deep enough for people. Yeah. What I would say ultimately though, I think some people obsess too much about what comes next, and they forget to live. Don't lose your head in the clouds. Always work within alignment. So what you feel called to do with your life, what brings you joy, what makes you happy. It's not what are the standards expected of you. What I'm seeing quite beautiful in society at the moment is people refusing to make work their absolute priority. Now, of course, we need money. No one's saying you don't need money. But I've had a hard time my whole life with it. I don't like the fact that work is the priority and life after is the afterthought. It makes no sense to me. Work is supposed to give us the money to supplement our life. It's not supposed to be work is our life and then we get a little bit of free time to relax and enjoy ourselves and then everything's focused on work again. That's not right. We're not here to be mules. That's asking yourself to be a slave. If you think about slavery and people just hitting, remember back in the day when you got a stone and they just stand there with their like pickaxe thing and they're just whacking the stone and they're trying to, they're trying to just get minerals and shit. That's all people are doing without realizing it. If you can put it in that idea, that's exactly what's happening. So we're seeing people say no. I saw a post yesterday, I think it was, or a couple of days ago, and it said, I had an interview, I got the job, but I had to turn it down. They said they wanted me to work 2 to 11 or something, 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. What sort of social life can I have? I thought, that's great. Because companies need to realise for too long, they think they call the shots. You know, they always have an influx of people who take the job, so they can just demand anything and everything of you. Like it's just given. Yeah, of course you're going to work nights. Of course you're going to work evenings. You ain't going to have a home life. Who cares about your life? You're here to work. No. The work's supposed to supplement my life. I want to work where I've got time off and I can actually enjoy my life. And that's how work should be. And it needs to change. You know the way it changes if people keep refusing the shit that comes out of the shit opportunities, you know? So when people say no, I'm like, I'm all for that. So that's not good. It's not healthy. It doesn't serve your purpose. You can make money doing other things and you can find the hours that suit you, but too many people just rush to other things. And they make excuses for it, but you've got to ask yourself, what does your soul want? What do you want for your life? And until you're prepared to make the sacrifice to have the life you want, you're never going to have the life you want. So like my life, I've already said, for about a decade, my whole life, finance has been hard. But the sacrifices I've made to do my work, what I've been working on over the past decade, I haven't seen the fruits in terms of finances, but I've recognized the growth in myself. And I see the results here. So I'm proud for that. And I've no doubt the success will come with it because I'm in alignment. Source is always acknowledging it. I'm always getting signs, and especially through my own readings, of the things that are coming next and how quick things are going to turn around. About time. It's about time. But really, that's an example of what it takes to live your best life. The sacrifice it's going to take. There's going to have to be times of instability. You've got to ask yourself, is this, whatever it is you want, is it worth losing all that? And some people are going to go, nah. But it's like, you're not happy though. Like, how is that the standard? How can you live your life like that for the rest of your life just because you're scared of the unknown and the instability? You're better off taking the instability, build the life you want, and then that can be almost like forgotten, but you learn from it. But then you get to live the life you want. Now, I've had to wait a long period. I don't expect other people to change their life and go through this. I think it's part of my training. So I think I've just had an extreme example here. You know, freaking 10 years nearly. I think 9 years. I think. I'm not sure if I'm doing the maths properly, to be totally honest. It's been a long time anyway. Well, yeah, life isn't easy. I once said it would be. You know, it's been a freaking roller coaster and a train wreck at times. But what I do know is anything can happen at any moment, and I've witnessed that myself. Times when you think it's the worst moment in your life is when usually your transformation comes. It's just, can you hold on and keep staying true, you know? Random people just turn up in your life as well, and it could be absolutely life-changing. I had something recently. I'm not going to speak about it now. It's just because I'm not going to foreshadow anything. I'm not going to say anything to preempt anything. I don't want to influence someone. But I have had a recent reading I did for myself asking whether someone specific will come across a certain piece of content I've done, and it said yes. It was absolute yes, and it would heal. It would be healing for them. And I thought, wow, that's crazy. Then yesterday or last night, I said, will we meet in person? And it said yes, and it was absolute. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Now I'm not going to suggest who that is. I mean, people might be able to draw conclusions, but I'm not going to say. Well, I thought that was quite impressive. You know, I thought, well, okay, that makes sense. That's crazy. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, that's just life, isn't it? That's our path and things. And it's just nice to know that when we're progressing, it's not unrecognized, it's noticed. And even though maybe we don't always see the tangible results, it's coming. You know, so even in most despair moments, it's like it's not the be all and end all. And then you've also got to transcend beyond that and think, well, life's bigger than me in this circumstance. Like my journey, my evolution is far bigger than all of this. And I think people get preoccupied, you know. So I want nice things for myself. I get frustrated too, but I do understand there's a bigger thing at play here. Anyway, hopefully it's been enough for people.